Welcome to the Cozy Little Library today with your Clean Reads Book Buddy. Let's talk about this fun book, Love Overboard, a Christian contemporary romance. It was our Clean Reads by the Sea Summer Book Club June pick, and I just want to say thank you to all the lovely ladies that came. I think there ended up being 18 of us technically that were in the book club. Our favorite thing about the whole book are the 4 mature ladies that decide to retire on cruise ships instead of in a retirement home, and they were a hoot. I adore the fact that this could have just been a simple contemporary romance with a little mistaken identity or secret identity on a vacation cruise, and that could have been it, but it was so much more. The words that came out of the quirky, hilarious, mature ladies was laugh out loud fun. Like I laughed out loud so much in this book. They are matchmakers, but in a word, delightful, squeaky clean romance, no profanity. Hallelujah, 4 stars. I'm excited to talk about a new chapter by Kristen Eckhart. Look at this cover. How adorable is this? This is book number 1 in the Secrets of Mary's Bookshop series. I am a series girl. I love it. I love it. Finally, a little cozy mystery where no one loses their life or even comes close. It's a low stakes mystery in a cozy little Cape Cod town. So, the plot in this first book did not start out super fast, but it did pick up after a while. So Mary, our main character, and her little cat Gus move back to her quaint hometown after she becomes a widow. She and her husband had always had a dream to go back there to Cape Cod and to open a little mystery bookshop. So she decides to go and do exactly that. She moves back to town, moves in with her sister. So it's just the 2 of them and the kitty cat, and she's trying to get her bookshop open, and before she can even get the doors open, someone breaks in. Following the clues was fun, and I did not successfully pick the culprit in this story, which is awesome. There's no profanity. So kudos to Guidepost for creating this clean, quaint little mystery series. I'm very excited to go on with this series. I just love this book. It was lots of fun. I gave it 4 stars. All right, let's talk about Becoming Mrs. Lewis by Patty Callahan. I'm going to sit it here because of the glare, because I'll keep moving it around and that'll be distracting. But I was very excited to read this book because C.S. Lewis. I'm a huge fan, love his writing style. I did a buddy read with Read Journal Love. Another reason I wanted to read this, look at this cover. And it started out amazing. I mean, look at this. I said I was going to keep it still. Here we go. Anyway, so you got the map, and then if you are a fan of Narnia, listen to this. So there's like some quotes. There's a Tolkien quote. You've got the prologue, 1926. From the beginning, it was the great lion who brought us together. I see that now. He wouldn't make it easy for us. That's not his way. So if you're familiar with Narnia, the lion, Christ. So it starts out and she has this kinship with these actual lions. I just thought, oh wow, the foreshadowing, how cool. And then we get to chapter 1. We're put into her with her first marriage, which was really horrible. She and her first husband had many issues. I just really didn't enjoy the long view of their relationship and all the disturbing things that went on. And then she meets Mr. Clive Staples. Joy attaches herself. She leaves the States and goes to England for weeks and weeks, leaves behind her kids, even at Christmas. And C.S. Lewis was a perfect gentleman, even though she pushed herself on him. But then the author also filled in a lot of this as what might have happened. So I really didn't realize that either. So it was kind of like, what was true, what wasn't true? 2 stars. Let's talk about Daughter of Eden by Jill Eileen Smith. The prologue, she called the Unseen Realm, with the Archangel Michael first beginning to exist, awakening in the presence of his creator and the other angels. What that might have been like, oh, it was absolutely fascinating. I love that. And then chapter 1, we jump right in with Adam and Eve. They're under a waterfall. And of course, I didn't enjoy Cain and Abel, what happened with them, but it was done very well and it was very realistic. Did the animals remember Eden? How'd they feel about getting kicked out of Eden? What was all that like? I have a very active imagination, so visualizing all of this was so much fun. I cried so much at the end with how this book showed death and heaven and God. It was just amazing. I absolutely love this book. I highly recommend it, and I gave it 4 stars. Little Lord Fauntleroy by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Yes, the Burnett that wrote The Secret Garden, A Little Princess. I did not know what this was about, and to be honest, I had just kept pushing it aside. I would say this is a mashup of Ebenezer Scrooge.
Is it still in full vigor?
And Pollyanna. Okay, I know that sounds crazy. This little boy, his dad passes away. He and his mom are just trying to make it. I think he's only 6 years old, and his grandpa is in England. He needs to go. Well, guess what? You get into the story, and they actually live in the U.S., and he's quite the political little fella. He's learned a lot, and he talks about July the 4th and independence and politics and political parties, and other people do too. And at the very end, July the 4th is mentioned. And as I'm recording this, July the 4th is very near. I just thought it was just a kiss from the Lord, you know, saying, I told you to read this. It's just so interesting. So I highly recommend this book. I'm giving it 5 stars, and I think you should pick it up. The Mysterious Benedict Society, Book 2, which is called The Perilous Journey. So I devoured and was delighted by book number 1 of this series. And I had heard from the experts, Lindsay and Morgan, had both mentioned how they love this series. On the Libby app, I had the audiobook, and it was engaging and fun. I love these little genius kids and their adventures, the sarcasm, and the humor that kind of pops up in unexpected places. Around 60%. It did slow down. I got a wee bit bored, but I kept going, of course, and I really liked the ending. I think this is exceptional for kids, middle grade, or like me, young at heart, because there's no profanity, there's no romance whatsoever, and there's just lots of adventure. And I gave this one 3 stars. I was excited to read the Nancy Drew mystery stories, start them up this month. I really want to read through these again. I haven't since I was a little girl, and I would just get lost in these stories. So as I started reading book number 1, the nostalgia was immediate. I loved it. The Secret of the Old Clock. We're introduced to Nancy. She's 18. She lives with her dad, who's a successful lawyer. Her mom has passed away, so they have a housekeeper that takes care of them. But the whole vintagey feel, I just love it. So this story, there's a fella in town who passes away, and he had intentions for where all his money would go to some poor friends, but the paperwork is not found. The money is going to some not so nice people. So Nancy jumps in to try to help. Her dad does as well. And it's just an interesting story. Now, I will say this storyline was kind of, but for nostalgia and just clean middle grade fun, it got 4 stars. Then I read book number 2, The Hidden Staircase. This one is one of my favorite styles, especially to read in the fall. Kind of just spooky, slightly creepy, lots of mystery. This one, Nancy's friend Helen finds out about, the success she had with the first mystery. So she says, ooh, can you please come to my aunt's house? She's a widow. There's all kind of crazy stuff going on over there. Strange and mysterious. Seems to be a ghost, some untraceable music, eerie shadows on the walls. So Nancy goes to stay with her friend at her aunt's house at a mansion, and it is a colonial mansion. This one got 5 stars, but all in all, clean, fun, nostalgic. Nancy Drew. Highly recommend. Let's talk about Founding Brothers, the Revolutionary Generation. And when I did my Memorial Day video, y'all were so receptive when I shared what I did and challenged y'all to learn as much as you can about the birth of our nation. I feel like it's very important for us to know what the forefathers had in mind with our government and the Constitution and all of the Bill of Rights, all of the things, the amendments. We need to know why those were put in place and if we believe in it or not, and if we want to protect it or not. And if we don't know the details, then we can't defend anything, right? Okay, I've taken it on myself. Not only do I read books to decide whether I want to buy them for my own library, but I'm also now reading them with y'all in mind to kind of weed out what I think might be boring, that y'all might not enjoy. This one, the premise was really good. He's talking about 6 specific moments in time in the 1790s, going into the actual facts about their kind of rumored stories. So the 1790s is right after the government is set up and the nation is very fragile. There's just a lot of disagreement and, just like today, right? Like Solomon says, nothing new under the sun. For instance, like Hamilton and Aaron Burr getting in their duel. This author is going through the details, and then there's 5 other stories that he tells kind of like that, and all that's really cool and everything, but it is as if this author chose the most difficult verbiage and the most long-winded way to explain these things. I just felt like everything was too lengthy, too difficult, and it's not a short book. It was really lengthy. Just for 6 little situations, it took this many pages. But I say kudos to the author for trying to teach us these fascinating moments. 3 stars. I received this book on a library loan by mistake, but enjoyed the incredible paintings by American history artist Mort Kutzler, and I'm in awe of these details of each drawing and his talent. You can visually look at over 180 color painting pages, and there's also some descriptive text about the history of our nation. Now, I did not read this book word for word. It is a heavy chunker. But I did go through and look at every date that was put into this. Consider reading this if you want a beautiful resource on American history as a coffee table book to reference or to share with others. 3 stars. Hello, we are well into July, and I've been over here piddling with my positive patriotic book project and realize I have 2 more books to talk to you about that I read in June, so that I can wrap up this video and let you know about all of the books I read in June. Emma by Jane Austen is one of them, so let's come over here and talk about it. This is the beautiful edition that I have shown y'all before. I took the plastic off, and I have actually been reading this one without this delicate dust jacket on it. That's what it looks like when it's not on there. And look at how beautiful. I didn't even realize that every one of these is a different shade of blue. They are so beautiful. Still love this edition so much. But I have made some more purchases, Jane Austen purchases, in July that I will show you at the end of July. But I love Emma. Really, for me, it comes down to I now understand after reading several of Jane Austen's works. It's my favorite kind of humor in this book because there's so many people. Absolutely ridiculous things are spoken by Emma, her father, Mr. Elton, her sister's husband. Miss Bates is silly and ridiculous. Sweet, yes, but she says so much. She talks so much and says such ridiculous things at times. For instance, the way Emma's father tries to micromanage everyone else's food choices, and bless his heart, he's such a worrywart. The way that he worries about people eating the cake at the wedding, he demands that there not even be a wedding cake, and then how he tells Miss Bates that she need not be afraid to eat his boiled eggs. But it's comical that Austen painted Mr. Elton out to be handsome, very conceited, and a fortune hunter. Like, that was just so out of left field for the vicar to be that way. But it's all a hoot. It is annoying how nobody tells Emma no. I do love, though, when Mr. Knightley puts her in her place, but the respect, the love, and the patience that she shows her father touches my heart, how she's content to just stay with him. She's at that age and she's of that wealth that she really, within certain parameters, she could go and do, but she stays very close to her father, and I think that's really sweet. I adore this iconic novel, and I find it highly entertaining. I give it 5 stars. All right, let's talk about Mandy and the Secret Tunnel. I had never read this series before, but our buddy read this with Morgan at Morgan's Endless Bookshelf. Things are hard for brave 12-year-old Mandy for a while, but she has really good friends. She finds herself in a really intolerable situation. She sneaks away to her rich uncle's house. There are secret missions and ghosts and fancy clothes and food, strange relatives showing up. It's written about 1900s North Carolina, and the author wrote them to teach about morals and young Christian faith, and I thought it was really endearing. I love the vintage feel of it. It's all super clean and sweet, and I would at some point like to read book number 2 to see if I want to go forward with the rest of the series. There are many books in this series, so I gave this one 4 stars. All in all, June was a wonderful reading month. 12 books in all the genres, mostly 3, 4, and 5 stars. I hope this was helpful, and until next time.